help with that?
How do we?
How do we help?
Well, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to write down a couple of websites, and then I'm going to tell you about something that we're doing. One of the websites is called the 14th, the 14.us, right? And then, no, that's probably the best one. The 14th.us, where my mentor has a series of YouTube videos that continue to educate on what's going on with the 14th Amendment. And another one of the things that we're doing is every Monday night, we have a nationwide phone call, it's a conference call, where we are educating people on the 14th Amendment, the Civil Rights Act of 1866, and how that impacts us today. And the other thing that we are doing, it's a project, it's an ongoing project, it's called the Days of Love and Reconciliation. Because just like every other family, there are things that need to be addressed within the family that is America in order for us, to move forward as a country. Here's something else. A lot of people didn't know that there's a House Resolution 194, that apologizes to the descendants of chattel slaves for the government's permissiveness in slavery. Do you know the level of, do you know what just knowing that, the acknowledgement of such a thing can do in order to heal hearts? Such a resolution can open the door for healing to do, can open the door for God to do what He does so well. See, we don't have to control everything, we just have to do the right thing. And so letting people know about this has been an amazing thing. You watch the heads lift. Children in the inner city, Compton, they're like, I didn't know that. I just thought that just by virtue of being born with black skin, I was less than. Now, I know that sounds like a terrible thing to say, but I was born black in America. I get that. I get that. I get what it means to not be able to trace your family history back any further than the ship. You know, that was all part of the breaking of slaves, by the way. You know, take away their language, take away their heritage, take away. And what you see in the inner cities today is a direct reflection of doing such a thing, because it was supposed to last for at least 300 years. And I'm going to tell you this too. It does not matter the color of your skin. I think that if anybody had been brought here under those circumstances, we would be having the same conversation about that group. Anybody. So, I don't mean I condone nonsense though. I don't just ask my sons. I do not play. But I understand it, and understanding is the first thing. It's the first step. Okay, so there's that. And I really, really hope one day that I'll be able to share this with President Trump. And the reason for that is because the Congressional Black Caucus is a bunch of thugs in suits and dresses.
Here, here.
You know, telling him that you need to pay attention to us. No, you ain't never got it right. What you need to do is go home. You have a home? It ought not be here in D.C. You need to go. Because this is the kind of thing that could bring nations together. This is the kind of thing that President Obama knew about. He knew about all of this. He knew about the 2008-2009 apology resolution. He knew about that. And he had countless opportunities to unite the nation, and he did not. He did not.
Why? Why do you think?
Why? Let me tell you something. We still have yet to elect the first black president. Okay. Being the descendant of chattel slaves as I am, I understand it's not about skin color, it's about an experience. Because the Irish here, they were slaves as well, were they not? It was indentured servitude. So it wasn't lifelong, it was 7 years, it was finite, but being a chattel slave means that you're human property and you're born into that. And that is an experience, and that's where we need to unite, and we need to unite with the experience. Barack Hussein Obama shares no such history. No such history. He has nothing in common with those who were descended. Ben Carson does. Herman Cain does. Michelle Obama does. But Barack don't. That's why.
Last question.
That's fine. I'm
Can you
sorry.
say that again so I can record it?
Where are we on?
I think that on Snapchat.
Yes, ma'am.
Mention the other hideousness that you haven't mentioned. Not only are you shackled and indentured and separated, your children can be ripped away from you and sold.
That's right.
Maybe
Families,
to a neighbor, maybe down the river to God knows where.
families destroyed. Families absolutely destroyed. And it impacts us today. And like I said, I experienced symptoms of that in my own family today. Jen!
Hello, you. Sorry,
Yes, sir.
turn off the quiet entrance.
There's another reason that Obama was different, and as you say, not the first black president.
Yeah, still ain't been elected.
He was the first Muslim president. Because when you look at his history, and his background, and his family, his grandfather was Muslim, his father was Muslim, and all of his relatives were Muslim of any consequence outside of this country, period. And I blame the media greatly for that, because nobody ever got involved in looking into his background the way they do into other people's background.
And a lot of people weren't coming from the right place because of all they did not know. Because of all they did not know. How can you confidently say, oh, well, that makes you a racist? No, it doesn't. But see, it's time for people like me to stand up and start saying that stuff out loud. That's what I mean by being your shield. Not just the 14th Amendment, but being your shield. You should be up there standing up there by yourself, fighting for me. I can fight for myself as well. And that's what I mean. A funny thing happened on the way to 2017. Guess what? It worked. It worked. We need each other. We're family. Our fates are intertwined. Yes, ma'am.
I guess my question is, in the 1950s, the black community actually had a stronger family value
Yes, we did.
than the white community.
Yes, we did.
76% of all black families were all together and mostly Christian.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is,
What happened?
the Democratic Party has literally, said, well, you don't need that. We're going to come in, we're going to help you. And they've oppressed the black community, and yet, how do we change that? I mean, how? I don't know where to start with that. I mean, how?
There is a pattern that I follow in coaching. Because at the end of the day, all you can do is change who? Yourself. It's not for somebody else to, or somebody else. We often do this. Well, what's going to change those people? Who says that those are the people that need to change? They might not never change. We can't wait for them, So the first thing that we do is we do things like this. And we educate and we give each other truth. And what happens is when that light flips on, very often people are inspired to come together with other people. Because all great things that have ever occurred have always started small. Look at the small percentage of the population that made the Revolutionary War possible.
Right.
Right? Right? We're talking, what is it, 3-4% of the population? It always starts with truth. It always does. Because really, that's the only person you have any power over. And then you're brought.
I just feel
This
like
situation like this.
that now they're doing it with the Hispanic community.
Oh,
They're
yes!
getting ready to do the same thing, and it's just,
That's why we need to know what's up.
it's really sad.
But you know what's up now, right?
Yeah.
They're bringing all of these people in, and they're completely poo-pooing the 14th Amendment, and they're trying to get rid of it. And if they get rid of the 14th Amendment, then what will that leave us? That's why we have to fight for it. That's why we have to know it. We have to understand it. 14th Amendment ain't for you. LGBT community, I understand your cry, but the 14th Amendment ain't for you. Latinos and folks coming across the border illegally and having babies here, 14th Amendment ain't for you.
Who's the 14th Amendment for then?
You're looking at it, right? And the reason why that involves all of us is because it was your ancestors that wrote the 14th Amendment.
And died for it.
And died for it. In huge numbers.
Yes.
There is a reason for that, and we can't overlook that. We just need to take back our identity and stop letting people call us whatever they want to call us. But it starts with the individual, first and foremost, every time. And don't ever underestimate the power of truth to catch fire. Never. Does anybody have any more questions? Any more? Bob!
I was in England last year, and I was on an SAS base, which is, for those of you who don't know, the SAS is like our special forces base. And a large black SAS sergeant came up to me. And
Was he married?
I thought to myself,
I had to ask. Is his name
and I thought to
Idris?
myself, okay, it's either going to be good or going to be bad.
Right.
We were all drinking. And he said, I have a, and I had on a jacket with American flag on. And he said, I have a question I've been dying to ask an American. So specifically a white American. And he said to me, he said, I'm British. I'm not African British. I'm British. Why do the blacks in America go by the term African American? And you know what? I couldn't answer. So I looked it up. And evidently in the 1980s, Reverend Jesse Jackson pushed this terminology and it got on. And it's stuck in our vocabulary.
Indeed.
And we use this, I think, out of context. And when I say we use it, the white population uses it, the Latino population uses it, and the black population uses it. From my perspective, as a crutch.
Yeah, it becomes a part of our narrative, and it's
Yeah.
hurting us.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when I looked it up, I was surprised. And being a combat veteran, what you don't realize is there's no race in a foxhole.
No, there isn't.
And you bleed the same color blood of the person next to you, no matter what their race, no matter what their gender,
That's right.
no matter what their religion is. So the point of my
And there are no atheists in foxholes.
My point being this, I think, and I appreciate what you brought forward, I think it was very informative. My point being is, I think we need to find a way to change the African-American persona. And when I ask you, what are you, you say, I'm an American, just like if you ask me what I am, I'm an American. Because I'm damn proud I'm American, and I know you're proud to be an American.
Yeah, I am, very much so. And I think that there's a significance to my being born in this time, in this uniform, having lived the life that I've lived. I understand what matters, I understand what doesn't matter. I understand the minutia that turns our heads around. And I understand what it means to be on the defensive all the time, not being able to learn or find out what's really going on. It's like living in the Matrix, right? You know, living in the Matrix. And what was it, Neo? You can take the red pill, go down the rabbit hole and see what's really going on, or you can take the blue pill and just remain fat, dumb, happy, and continue to live with the division and the world that has been projected to you. The world that has been projected to us, ladies and gentlemen, that's not for reals. That's not for truths. Okay? You should never have to feel frightened or threatened. You should never have the intentions of your heart questioned by complete strangers, and you should never have to fall back because a complete stranger came up and called you out your name. Never. You're right. We are Americans, and it's time that we stood up and we acted like it. We need to embrace our entire history, and that's another thing. A lot of people are so afraid of the ugliness in American. We do this in our families too. We're so afraid of the ugliness of American history that we never get to uncover the beauty of where it's brought us. There is no shame. There should be no shame in our name. None whatsoever. None. Yes, ma'am.
I want to answer that from a different point of view. I'm West Indian by history. My mom's mom was born in Barbados and was the governess to the Astros. My mom's father was Haitian. So my real dad, my mom will talk about, was probably South Pacific or Philippine. So I have a lot of mixtures, but you notice I can say those things, those countries, those places. If you ask a Cuban, now I could be black as coal, and I would still say, I'm Caribbean, I'm Barbadian. I never actually called myself, when I was younger, African American. I've said Caribbean, I've said Barbadian, I've said Philippine. My kids don't know what to say. If you ask a person who's Cuban or Panamanian or Puerto Rican, and they could be blacker than black, what they are, if you dare call them African American, they will look at you like you're crazy. Now to a white person, you're going, you look black to me. They'll say, I'm Cuban, I'm Panamanian. But people people of color that were born here and cannot trace themselves to the other countries, the United States. Well, they do have.
We all want
The United States actually had the least amount of slaves brought here. The least amount. All of them were taken to the Caribbean, Brazil, Portuguese. So you have to understand something. They feel a lot of pride, and they are Cuban. They are Panamanian. If you can't say that, because family history is important and identity is important to everyone. So if you're a person of color and you can't say an island or another place, what else are you going to say besides African Americans? Because in your mind, you know, I did come from Africa. But the sad thing is they don't know where, they don't know history. See, the thing that was done to us as a people is history was erased. Passed wherever they left you off at. And the ones that got left off in a place, Cuba, Panama, Brazil, they have that to say, that pride to say. But some people, or some of us don't. I do, because I know my aunt had a huge Barbadian accent and sounded like it's England, owned by England. So I have that in my mind. But am I any different than someone else who doesn't? Because we all, honestly, the research I'm doing, we're all African. If you ask me, every single human being